Welcome to Following Through, the podcast where we talk about overcoming challenges in trying circumstances.
Plus stories about shitting yourself.
My name's Alex Love.
My name's Siobhan Dodd. We are comedians.
We are back for episode 2 in season 2 of Following Through. So thank you for joining us.
It's a special number because 2 is special for us anyway. I remember the last number 2 episode was really special. And this is 2-2. And you're getting it on the second week of our fortnightly podcast release program. So really very special, isn't it, Alex?
All the twos, all the twos.
All the twos indeed. Alex, we were just before we went on air, we were talking about health. Alex, as if you listened to season 1, is very good at all his health shit. Like he's been dieting, he's been drinking green shit, not literally, and he's looking quite good. Now I was watching on YouTube, there's a green drink there, which looks like kryptonite. So you're looking quite good. You've got some abs now.
Yeah, I should explain. So, yeah, I do have some abs
He's
for the
got some
first time
abs.
since my teens, I think.
That's
So,
fantastic.
yeah, so I don't normally take pictures of myself with my top off. But I did the other night. I thought, fuck, I look really good. So I was sending around to
It's,
friends, and I refrained from sending you because it's not
it's
appropriate.
just a bit weird, yeah.
But I showed you on the webcam just now. That sounds even weirder. But
But that's because I started it because I've just put on a Jerry Halliwell dress because it was the closest thing I could find to put on to make it look like we're recording on
how
different
many Jerry
days.
Halliwell dresses do you own? About three or
About
four, don't
4.
you?
This one, you'll notice actually, I'll stand up for the YouTube viewers, it doesn't actually cover my fanny anymore. Because I've got massive belly here, but my tits look great. And I was just sat down and went, hey, my tits look great. And you went, oh, actually, I've got some good abs. And we started talking about what great shape we're in. Of course, we're not in great shape. I'm just great shape from here on up.
I'll
But
show you
down
the
not.
picture on my phone via over the webcam, so that thus not sending you the picture directly and make it
Yeah,
fine.
I know. And Dave is listening, so I don't want Dave to think I've been looking at naked bodies. It was just like, oh, you've been working out. That's good. Well done, dear. We've made it weird,
Thank you.
haven't
And I want my listeners to know that also you're stopping me from going out and exercising, Siobhan, because we were talking far too much in the first episode,
we?
and
Yes.
then it's cutting into my running time, but it's fine.
Oh,
I'll just go a
shit.
bit later. It's all
Okay,
right.
those abs will disappear now the
They
season
will.
started again.
They'll disappear
Chat
at
to
midnight.
you. Like Cinderella. But sorry, we'll get into the meat of this topic very quickly. But just a quick thing around health. Now, obviously, season 1, we talked a lot about self-improvement, and I was very impressed with you, Alex, and all your dieting and exercise and all that shit. And you keep setting me challenges to try and help with that. And I wanted to tell you that I have started actually coming back from Hong Kong. It was almost like I was resetting myself because it was such a great trip. And I have started a new health initiative. Do you want to know what it is?
Yes.
I have given up puddings during the day, during the week. I've been doing it for
Well,
about 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. I've been successful most days. Some of it was my birthday. I've had a birthday, of course, since we last recorded. So well done. Happy birthday, me. I'm now 41, older than you. Yeah, so I did eat obviously sweets that day and chocolate and stuff. But yeah, that's my initiative is now in the middle of the day when I see a cookie, I sometimes don't buy it.
there you go. Well done. That's a big step forward.
It is. I
So
hate it. I
it's
hate this willpower. It's awful. I want to have a chocolate bar at
yeah,
lunchtime.
but it's just the little things do end up making, especially at our age, they do make a big difference if just by cutting out a few things here and there can really help.
I do pudding at night time, and I have quite a few puddings
But
at night time.
shouldn't have pudding at night time.
Oh, that's when I have pudding.
Have pudding earlier in the day because you've got time to burn it off if you
Oh,
yeah.
oh shit.
Pudding lunchtime would be best because you've got time to burn it off before
Yeah, but you're
bedtime.
not relaxed. I want to relax in front of the telly with a pudding. Ooh, you know what I mean? It's fun. Oh
It is
shit.
fun, but unhealthy. And lots of unhealthy things are
Um,
fun.
yeah, they are. Another
All the
thing,
healthy things are boring.
are
So
boring. We've also got this app now. We discovered this app called Yuka because Dave's got all into his ultra processed food. Oh my God, he goes on and on about it. It's a bone of contention in our marriage. And there's this app called Yuka where you can scan foods to see how ultra processed it is and how unhealthy it is, and it gives it a score. So this afternoon, I was in Sainsbury's scanning food to try and get like healthy snacks. And I found them. I found like Snacker Jacks and cereal bars. So I recommend that. And that, look, that's an initiative, isn't it? Because I'm like, I'm going to get healthy stuff.
yeah, that's good.
It's
It's
good, isn't it?
all about little things that you can do. Talking of diets, Siobhan, that brings us nicely on to the episode for this week, and particularly eating a load of rubbish. and drinking loads of stupid things because we are talking about the university
Yes.
days
Yes.
where there, strangely, really, wasn't it, that the amount of rubbish that I ate, the junk that I ate, and the
Mm.
stupid amount I drank, strangely affected my stomach in a negative way. And shitting was an integral part of university life for me. And it was for you as well,
Right.
wasn't it, Siobhan?
I don't think as much. I think it was more for you because didn't you have like your housemates? You called each other like the shit five or something?
We call the Shitastic Four.
The
That's our WhatsApp
shit-tastic
group.
four.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And
And so
we all
what,
have
how were
code
you?
names.
Are they all shit related code
They
names?
are all related to our shitting habits.
So was this, so you were, this was your house in what, the second and third year?
Second and third year, yeah.
Okay. And you all bonded over shit, did you?
Yeah, not just that. It was wanking as well. But yeah, we were
Such
yeah,
a highbrow. I don't
we
know why
talk
my
about
mum won't listen to this podcast.
we talked about shitting a lot. And in
Yeah.
fact, I've added one thing to the notes for this episode,
Yes.
Siobhan. Do you want to read it out? The one thing I've put.
Yeah, which was meant
What
to be the question asked that I haven't actually asked was, Alex, tell me about your university education. Where did you go and how did you get there? Brackets first choice. What did you study? The only note Alex has added to the episode notes is in bold, Imodium. You studied Imodium at uni, did you, Alex?
I was known as the Imodium supplier in our house. I had all these different tablets and
Mm,
lotions and potions and stomach stuff.
mm.
So I had a regular supply of Imodium. If somebody had shitting trouble in the house, they'd come and see me and I'd give them some Imodium.
You like the dealer.
I was the dealer. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Would you like to know my shitting code name? So we all had
Yeah,
shitting code name
please.
in relation to how.
Oh,
So
would I?
firstly, was my code name was Sly. So
Okay.
they all began with S.
Mm.
So my first code name was Sly because I'd often get up before everyone else and have a sly shit. But then it changed in relation to the nonsense I was eating to Sludge. So that was my
Okay.
code name. Now Sludge because the remnants you leave sometimes like, after you've had a curry, you leave
Yeah.
bits of sludge in the toilet. And it's often when you have a shit and you've got to rush out and you don't have time to double
Yeah.
flush because, you've got to go somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes after I've been, they'd find bits of sludge. But then
Oh,
one of my housemates was called Smell because it
dear,
smelled
they
like
smell
a
very
chemical weapon.
strong.
There was
Oh,
one,
dear Lord.
there was one time when we had, I think it was in the third year when we weren't going to be staying on the house the next year. And I
Mm.
was showing some lovely young ladies around, very polite, very respectful. And just as I was walking up the stairs, my housemate, who will remain nameless, but he knows who he is, who's known as Smell, he was leaving the big bathroom, walking off to his bedroom, and he just dropped worse smelling shit, and I had to go and show them the bathroom after he'd been in there. So there's just a horrendous smell.
That's one way of keeping hold of the house. Be like, nope, you can't have it. We're staying.
Yeah, so it was like a chemical warfare agent that had been
So it's
activated.
four
Four
boys living
boys, and
together at
then
uni.
we had another housemate who was called Snake because shit would curl around like a snake. And then the other one,
You were
he was solid because he'd leave
solid
like
as a
floaters.
rock. He'd leave floaters like me.
Yeah. So after he'd been, there'd be like solids left.
I want to be solid. We could be shit twins.
Yeah. He could do a survey on your house if you need one.
Oh, he's a quantity surveyor, is he?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I'm obviously not revealing his name, but yeah, that's his profession.
oh, it's good. He's gone on to great things. We're
He
solid.
listens to this podcast, but
Listen, oh, shame.
certainly two of them, one of them does more than others, and one of them submits the most stories on our shitting yourself form.
Yeah, he's a quantity surveyor. He's got a solid profession, hasn't he?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
But we should say what the purpose of this episode is in terms of the theme. So, university, following through, and 3 year degree. It's difficult, but it was mostly an excuse to talk about shitting and stupid drunken antics.
Yeah, it's a funny thing because getting a university education, I think for many it's like a rite of passage. I grew up in a fairly middle class area where it was assumed that everyone would do that. But actually, where I went to school was in Aldershot. It was not assumed that everyone would do that. And you get some people where there would have been no one in a family going to university. And it's this thing that in some circles you would assume it happens, but in others it doesn't. And actually, I've heard now it's really hard, like it's got more and more expensive. So
Yeah,
actually, to go to university now, I'm not even sure my soon to be 18-year-old nephew wants to go because he's, I don't want 30 grand worth of debt for
Yeah,
sitting and drinking snakebite. I'm sad for him for that because I loved it. But I was very lucky. Like my parents did fund it. I don't know if you were the same.
they did, but
Mm.
they shouldn't have done because they couldn't afford it.
Bless him.
Yeah, I
Not
should
sure
have
mine
been
would go.
working, but I spent my student loan on just getting drunk. But the student loan's
Same.
smaller then, so
They
it's not like
were.
now. And li cost of living were way below what they are now as well. So it's much more expensive now to do it. So it's not really comparable. So there were cheaper times,
Were
about three
cheaper
grand a year,
times. It
wasn't
was
it?
about
Three,
yeah, 3 grand a term, I think. Yeah, I lived on my student loan and the rest of
yeah, it
it
was
was
three
kind of
grand a
covered.
year. So you
Yeah,
get like
yeah, it was.
900 per term, wouldn't you? I would,
God,
because
you
it's
couldn't live on that
semester.
now, could you? No way. So you went to Portsmouth and you did film studies, is that right?
And that's correct.
Aha, for 3 year, 4 year degree?
3 years. And yeah, to uni really just for the
Mm,
social life because growing up in the sticks, I just
mm.
wanted to go somewhere where I could go out regularly.
Yeah, of course. And it's such a great way of becoming an adult, isn't it? Because it's like a halfway house where you're
Yeah.
not with your parents and you're experiencing life, but you're still a bit looked after and you're with everyone in the same boat. So I would be quite sad if young people weren't going because of the debt and the stuff. But I think it's very expensive. And actually, in terms of qualifications, I know a lot of people who do a degree and then they're like 18, they do a degree till they're 21. Then they realize, oh no, that's not actually what I want to do. So they have to do a second degree and that's the one
Yeah.
where they actually do it because of a job.
Yeah. But then
Um,
very few degrees actually lead to careers. And I think if I was wanting to go to uni, hypothetically, if I was
mm,
leaving college now, I'd want a degree that led to a career.
yes. Yeah, if anything, actually, I know people who haven't gone to university and they've done better because they've got on the work ladder sooner
Yeah.
and they've schmoozed their way up and they've actually been earning way more money than someone who has got a degree who's just saddled with all this debt. But oh, it was a great time. And I remember those 3 years of the undergrad degree feeling like the longest 3 years ever. It feels like you're there for eternity.
Yeah.
And I can meet up with people from uni now and just talk about uni crack as if it was like yesterday. And it's so irrelevant now. It's 20 years on.
We are having a reunion the final weekend in June. We're all going to have a get
Oh,
together. We're going to go around the old haunts.
oh, in Portsmouth. So it
Yeah.
sounds like we were at fairly similar type towns. Do you want to know where I went?
You went to Reading
I did go to Reading. Funny story how I got there. Not in terms of the journey. The journey's just like 45 minutes. Nothing
because
funny about that.
you're trying to get into drama school, weren't you?
Yes, I was
Hmm.
aged 17, applying for all the drama schools. That was all I wanted to do. I want to be an actor. I want to be an actor. And then at that time, I started working with kids with disabilities. I started learning British Sign Language as evening class. And my mum was like feeling a bit disheartened on my behalf because my twin was getting all these offers from universities, like including Cambridge and these posh places. And I had good grades, but I was going for drama school. So I was going for 4 minute auditions and not getting in. And she was like, look, you're academic. You could easily go to university, go back through the brochures and try and find a course you want to do. Maybe try and change some of your options. Don't just do all the drama school ones. So I did. I remember an evening sat in her office at the University of Surrey, just looking through brochures, and I found this course, Theatre Arts Education and Deaf Studies at the University of Reading, the most random degree ever. It was basically creating integrated theatre for deaf and hearing audiences. Amazing time. There was only like 18 people in like theatre spaces rather than like Dave's degree psychology where you get like a full lecture theatre. So a very different uni experience. But I saw that and I thought, oh, yes, I like that because I've just started learning sign. So I want to change my options. And I tried to change it for like that one and two other just drama degrees. And they only let me change to Reading. They let me add that option because they said the argument was I'd only just started learning after I'd applied for UCAS and they let me apply for that basically. And I got in, I did get into a drama school in the end. I got into Bretton Hall in Leeds. Thank you, I'm very smug. But I rejected it because I just remember going for that interview and the tutor was deaf. I was really enjoying signing. And I remember leaving, seeing deaf tutor, hearing tutor talking, and I was like, that's the world I want to join. And I did. And I really don't look back. Like, actually, it's all come full circle because I'm an interpreter and I do comedy. So my undergrad degree actually is relevant to my everyday existence. So there we go.
Well, I, Siobhan, am qualified to watch a film at the cinema. So
What a whole film.
a whole film, yeah.
Oh my lordy.
Yeah, and I
Great
can
fun.
comment on it afterwards.
Oh, brilliant. It's funny talking about shit in uni because you were saying about the shit-tastic four. How
Hmm.
shit was relevant in my uni was I said before about how Dave and I used to weigh our poo. But
Yeah.
also, I remember the first night at uni, it was just me up with two other housemates who were deaf. So the first night of uni, I'm on my own with a group of deaf people. I'm the only hearing person in the room. And we were talking about sign names. So sign names are when you take part of your personality and you turn it into a sign rather than spelling it all the time. So my best mate Roger, I kept telling him I was farting, and he was like, "You don't need to tell me I'm deaf." So he said my sign was farty, and then I would denounce when I was going for poo. So my sign name was shit, and then eventually it changed to ketchup because we realised we needed something appropriate for lectures. There we go. Oh my God, I've just remembered something, Alex. I was in halls in the first year, and our flat was a bit of a party flat. Basically, the whole deaf community of Reading would turn up there. There was also quite a pot culture in that flat, so there was a lot of people smoking pot there. Oh, can we get arrested for this? Is this okay? No one was harmed in the smoking of the
Just
pot.
say allegedly and can get away with
Allegedly,
it.
I never did. I
Yeah.
was never into the pot culture, but others did.
Allegedly.
And allegedly, oh, don't cancel me. And people would come and go, and I used to take them into my room to use the toilet, and I would make them sign the toilet paper. So my first year at uni, I had this toilet paper wall where I would sign whether they'd done a shit or a piss, and they would stick it on my door. So I had a little guest book for my
They'd,
toilet.
they'd stick the toilet roll on your door
Yeah, blue tack. They'd sign the toilet roll and they'd
with
stick.
after they'd used the toilet roll.
Oh, goodness, no. Come on, I'm not an animal, Alex. I know
It was
Reading's a shithole, but it's not that
like a
bad.
fresh piece of toilet roll, not like a used.
They'd use the toilet roll for whatever they needed to do in the
So
toilet, whatever their business was.
so be shit. They come out and sign your toilet
Yeah,
paper.
yeah, and they'd stick it on the wall. In fact, I might put this out as a promo clip and see who remembers signing. I'd literally forgotten about that. It's like a little toilet guest book. Were you in halls in your first year?
Yep, I was. Yep,
And how
in
did you
F
find
block.
halls compared to house?
I much preferred the house.
Same, 100%.
Yeah, so we had a communal kitchen, which was often in a complete state. So
Yeah, yeah.
we'd have communal meals as well.
Mm,
So we were on the Outcast campus, about 2 miles from the centre of town. So all the other
wow.
halls would be in the centre of town, and they could just walk to lectures and stuff.
Mm,
But we'd have to get a bus that was about 20 minutes away, and about 2 miles walk. Sometimes we'd do that on the way back.
mm.
But we had our own little community on this Outcast campus, and we had our own little bar, and we
Oh,
had
wow.
a canteen where they'd serve horrendous food every day. Well, sometimes it'd be all
Mm,
right, passable, but
yeah.
you get this like horribly gristly meat, and you wouldn't be able to
Oh,
tell what animal it came from, and
oh,
lumpy gravy, and then
gosh.
the fry ups could be good, but there'd
Mm,
often be an aspect of an element of the fry up that would be bad.
unsavory.
So
Yeah.
a green piece of bacon or a sausage that you cut into, and it just all seems to disintegrate and spill out. And
Oh, golly.
yeah, but it was quite an unhealthy time. We're talking about, in fact, I was wearing this hoodie as a student, so I'm, yeah, still.
Look at that.
There are pictures of me at uni
Oh,
in this hoodie because I'm at my mum's at the moment,
yeah.
and I'm wearing my home clothes, my home kit. Yeah, so it was quite unhealthy. I wasn't really exercising, and I put on a lot of weight eating all this shit and mountains of fry ups at the weekend. So just looking at pictures of me now, in fact, wearing this hoodie, I remember there's a picture of me with one of the members of Shitastic Four, and my
Mm.
face just looks all bloated just because I've been eating shit, and then yeah, all spotty. So yeah, I really can't understand why I wasn't more popular with girls at university.
Yeah, you ate shat and you hung around with the shitastic fours.
Yeah. I
Might
mean,
be
with a
it.
name like the Fantastic Four, how can we
How
keep the
can
girls
you?
away?
Yes, but hey, he's got abs, girls. Don't be put off.
No, it's just 20 years too late.
There's still time. You're in your prime. Gosh, that's interesting you say that you preferred house to halls. I was the same. Like halls at the
Mm.
time we thought was amazing, but our flat was really like party central. Like everyone was always in there. There was a big pot culture. Because I wasn't into, I would go out. I was also on an outcast campus. We were on a campus called Bullmarsh, which is now shut down.
Campus is
Shut
shut down
down.
as well. In
Oh
fact,
my,
the university halls where we used to
yeah.
stay have all been demolished now.
Oh, same with
Yeah,
mine. Same. It's all gone. All the flats gone. We had little self-catering flats.
yeah.
Bullmarsh was our campus. Yeah, it was teared down years ago, but my actual course has stopped as well. They don't do it anymore. Isn't that
Yeah,
sad?
it is sad.
Oh,
So I wanted to get into Bournemouth to do script writing,
mm,
and I got rejected there.
Okay, I
I,
was going to ask if it was first choice. Oh, okay, so you
no.
were rejected
Well,
from
I mean,
Bournemouth.
it technically was my first choice because it was the only place I formally applied to. So you have your first choice and then you
Okay.
have a backup, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So it was my first choice, but mainly because I got better grades than was the minimum entry requirement. So I probably could have gotten to a better university, but never mind. It's done.
Oh, okay, so you applied only to Bournemouth.
I applied to Bournemouth and I got a rejection from them. I think I applied to Newport as well. So I'm
Yeah.
going for the really classy locations: Bournemouth, Newport, Portsmouth.
Yeah, I used to have a book called Crap Towns, and I think those were in there. Reading's in there as well. But there's some sort of
Yeah.
joy. There's a real joy in crap towns. There's something really marvelous about them.
Well, that's part of
Stereotypically
the
crap
fun of being a
towns.
student. You go to the shit
Yeah,
clubs as well because they're shit and it's fun. And
exactly.
yeah, it's a laugh
Exactly.
because, oh, look at this. We're in this shit place. It can
Exactly.
be
It's
ironic.
fun. But it is interesting because obviously I went to quite a shit. Oh, I love Reading. I'm very fond of Reading.
Reading's quite a good university, isn't it?
I think, yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I mean, I just went because it was the only course, literally the only, I mean, my entry requirement was two C's and I was getting A's. So it
That's
wasn't
pretty low.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's two, because it has to be because it's for
It
deaf
would
and
have been
hearing.
three C's, wouldn't it?
No, it was two C's because
Okay.
obviously English is second language for a lot of BSL users. So if you're going to make it too high, you're going to discriminate against
Yeah.
people who aren't necessarily academic but could fit the criteria of the course, which is what made my course so brilliant. And you get real variety of people from different backgrounds there, like a lot of mature students as well. But yeah, Reading seemed to be a place where a lot of people just ended up. Like it was a second choice place for many, including Dave. He wanted to go Cardiff and got rejected. So he
Yeah,
ended
my
up
sister
in
got rejected
Reading.
at Cardiff as well.
Oh, a lot of people get rejected from Cardiff. So
Mm.
there was an interesting vibe to it. And I remember when I first got there, going to visit my twin up at Cambridge shortly after, and actually really gelling with the place. Cambridge is beautiful, gelling with the place, gelling with the people, and being like, oh God, maybe Cambridge is more my place. But then as time went on, everyone in Cambridge got a bit more uptight and stressed and political because they do. I think there's a lot of pressure there. And then everyone in Reading, I realised actually this place is cool. These people are my vibe. And I had a great time. The second and third year, we were in a house of seven, three girls. No, three boys, four girls. Is that seven? Does that make seven?
Yeah, seven, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's seven. Yeah, four
Hmm.
girls, three boys. No, it wasn't three boys because I hung out with the boys most. The boys were Dave and Roger, who I spoke about.
So two
Yeah,
boys
two boys. I was one of the.
and
I'm
five
a girl.
girls.
I'm a girl, aren't I? Five girls, two boys. But I domestically, I was more in line with the boys.
Yeah.
Actually, that's no, I'm more in line with Roger. Roger can cook now, to be fair, and so can Dave very well. But I never cooked for shit. And then the five girls, who I'm good friends. Two of them are godmother to my baby girl. Roger's godfather to one, and we got burgled. So yeah, house was lovely. It was a beautiful house, but then they sold, so we had to move, and we went to a place called Cemetery Junction. Have you heard of it? There
It's
was
a
a
Ricky Gervais film, isn't it?
Ricky Gervais film about Cemetery Junction in Reading. It's a bit
Yeah.
of a shithole. We got burgled three times. Dave's laptop got stolen. Oh, you know about this because of the driving
Yeah, when he
test
was having a
story.
shit.
Yeah, and it was just great. And I had a ball pool in my room in
Pool in your
third year.
room.
Yeah, it was amazing. My 20th
Was it you
birthday.
your own?
It was my own.
Did
My
you,
20th birthday, the
it
housemates,
wasn't
there's
just
one
there
of
in the house.
no, it wasn't. We'd go past the early learning centre, and I kept saying to my housemates, "Oh, I really want a ball pool." There was a five-person big inflatable car ball pool. So Dave and the others, and Kat and Gemma, Louise and Yasmin, those were my other housemates, and Roger, they got together. And on my 20th birthday, I come downstairs in a Beauty and the Beast dress, and there was this ball pool in the living room. And they even got it filled it up with balls. Oh, and his name was Gary. And in the second year, we had a bed in the lounge. So Gary lived there, and then he moved up to my room. And in the third year in Cemetery Junction, I had a loft room, and Gary was right next to the eaves window, and you could open it up and look out at all of Reading from the Gary bar.
Well,
The
this could be
drinks in.
yours.
Oh, it was amazing, particularly at firework night.
So you move around to different houses or
Yes. So we had the
like
second year house, which was in the
mhm,
centre of Reading. It was amazing. Then we moved to Cemetery Junction, a lot
yeah.
shitter. Got burgled a lot, but I did have a loft room. And Gary was there. He was a fixture. In fact, there could be people listening who've slept in Gary. Ryan Morgan, our shitter from, I think it was the Luke episode. He slept in Gary a few times, didn't you, Ryan?
So
Hope
Gary is
you're
your
back.
ball pool for
Gary's my ball
clarification.
pool. Gary's the
Right.
name of the ball pool. We named him
Where is
Gary.
Gary now?
Oh, we kept him in the loft at our first house we lived in Morden, and then eventually we gave it away to Dave's school.
Now,
So to be fair, he'd long lost his puff. He only ever saw the light of day at uni. I never got him out as an adult again. Ah. Good old Gary. So, what do you remember from the first day of uni? What was your experience? What was the experience like for you moving to uni?
It was really scary,
Yes, it
and
is scary.
I was terrified.
Yeah.
And I, right, this is going to get dark. Right?
Oh, okay. Here we go.
All right. So throughout my teens, I don't know if I told you this before,
Hmm.
I was convinced I was dying of cancer. So
Hmm.
my best friend's mum got cancer when I was 13, and it was really quick and really sudden,
Oh.
mainly because she hadn't got checked in time.
Oh, shit.
So I was just really scared
Hmm.
because I just saw how suddenly it could happen.
Yeah.
And like for about 6 years, any sort of ache or pain, I thought, oh shit, that's probably cancer. And
Mm.
yeah, I was convinced I had various different types of cancer. And when I had all sorts of sinus problems, I
Mm.
thought that was a brain tumor. And it was in the very early dated stages of Googling symptoms, and that
Yeah.
convinced me that I was suffering from all these different strains of cancer. And it wasn't until, so yeah, I moved away to university thinking, oh, I'm terminally ill. But
Fuck.
and then we had to register with the GP on campus and
Mm.
give him a urine sample. And the sort of the words that going through my head were, "The jig is up. They're going to find out I'm dying," and from the urine sample. So I was just
Mm.
waiting for that letter to arrive, or the knock on your door, or the phone call saying, "We've got some terrible news." I said, "Well, yeah,
Mm.
I already knew that." But
Wow.
then the time went on, and the letter didn't arrive, and didn't get the phone call, didn't get a knock on the door, and I thought, "Oh, maybe I haven't got cancer." So I wasted all that time worrying just about something that I didn't
Oh,
even have. Really
wow.
stupid, really stupid. When I first moved to uni, I thought I was terminally ill.
Oh my, and you still thought this will be a good idea. I can go and get drunk.
Yeah, I just thought, oh, I'll just enjoy myself. Yeah, I'm dying, but I'm going to enjoy
Oh,
myself.
oh my God, you really thought that, you poor thing. Obviously had a
Yeah,
big impact on you,
it
that
did.
early
So,
formative experience. Wow.
yep, yep. So I realized I wasn't dying, and then a lot of time I've wasted on worrying about something.
And then did you, I suppose you continued to waste more time because you were at university and that's what university
Yeah,
students do best.
so much time just
So much
waste,
time.
just sitting around hungover. Some days not even leaving the house.
Yes, yep, same. And do you remember a comic called Pete Dylan Trenchard?
Yes.
Oh, I was at uni with him, and he wrote a
Okay.
play in our third year called The Neighbours Effect, where you
Hmm.
sit there and you
Oh,
watch
yeah.
Neighbours, and then
Yes.
time passes and it comes round to the
Hmm.
time for the afternoon showing of Neighbours, and you
Yep.
realise you've spent a whole afternoon just sat in the lounge, and that's the Neighbours Effect
Do you remember the fire episode?
of
It was like a
Neighbours.
big moment when the coffee shop burnt down.
I
There was like
think
a
so.
big
Yeah,
explosions
yeah.
and everything.
If it was at
It was
uni, we were all
incredible.
neighbours at
Yeah.
uni.
So that was another thing. Neighbours was a major part of our university life.
Yeah,
We'd base days around Neighbours.
yeah.
We sometimes missed lectures because we wanted to watch Neighbours again.
Same. And that's the neighbours effect, which, yeah, shout out to Pete Dylan Trench there. Like, you suddenly realize, oh, hang on, it's the afternoon showing now. I really must
Mhm.
move.
Yeah.
But
But
you
that
wouldn't.
sofa.
So you're on the sofa. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It
And
was.
once saying to Dave and Roger just of an afternoon, hey boys, do you want to make a farm out of cardboard? We're like, oh, all right. So we just got toilet rolls, made a farm. Another time we played a game called Find Alan, where me and Roger and Kat decided to hide an Alan Titchmarsh calendar around the house. And then we went out to the pub to look for people called Alan. That was the level of productivity in
That sounds great
undergrad
fun.
university.
Did you find an Alan?
We found a guy called Simone who we kept calling Alan. And then we saw him the week after. We kept calling him Alan. He threw us out the pub because he was pissed off by this point that we kept calling him Alan.
Was he a landlord?
No,
Okay. How did he throw you out of the pub then?
he just got pissed off and said, "Can you leave?" And we were like, "Oh, okay." And we felt awkward.
I would have cheated in that game, Siobhan, because in our group of friends we had somebody actually called Alan.
Oh my God! So there you go. So you would
Yeah,
have won. Oh, we should play Find Alan. We should do that.
yeah. I'm
About
seeing Alan in the end of June. Alan's
you
going to be
win
part of
then.
the group.
You
Yeah,
win. Gosh, but yeah, that's starting university. Obviously, you joke about the time you waste and everything, but actually, it is really daunting when you're 18 and you're packing up to go. Do you remember like what it was like leaving
yeah.
home? I
That
mean,
was
you thought you were
horrible. Yeah,
dying. Yeah, it's
I thought I was
scary.
dying, but also I was leaving my dogs behind, and that was the toughest thing about being away from my
Oh,
dogs, and especially little Phoebe. She had puppies just after I moved away to university, and I
oh,
was gutted. So she was my little baby, and she'd follow me around and come to me when she was scared, and so I was really devastated about leaving her behind at university. And she'd always wanted to have babies, and she'd
mm,
always carries toys around, little puppies, and talking to them. And she had a couple of phantom pregnancies. We took her to the vets, and they said it's a phantom pregnancy. But then moved away to university, and then I
Mm.
got a voicemail from my dad saying Phoebe's had a puppy, and it turns out she had eight of them, eight
Oh,
puppies, four boys, four
wow.
girls, and she had a holiday romance, and I missed out on
Oh,
all that. I got to see them a
God.
few times, but
Yeah.
I'd always wanted to have puppies, and then it
Yeah.
happens when I was away, so I was
When
gutted
you're
about that.
away. Oh, that is hard. Yes,
Mm.
it is. It's quite emotional leaving. I remember packing up the house, packing up my things, and then just turning around to my mum and being like, "Oh, mummy, what if people don't like me?" And then she started crying, and we were like packing up
Hmm.
the plates. And I had a boyfriend at the time who came with my family. It was not my older sister, just my twin, my parents. And bless him. So that was quite hard. And apparently the whole way back, he was just going, "Shame, isn't it? Shame." And I got the giggles when we got there because my mum said, "Go to the queue, go and sign your name." And I just got the giggles. And they were like, "She's gone mad," because I just couldn't believe I was doing this big grown up thing.
Yeah,
And then once I got into the halls, I sat in the corner when my parents were leaving. I was going, oh, I just sat in the corner and rocked to make them like worried. And they were like, Siobhan, are you really going to let us leave you sat in the corner rocking? I said, yes, don't worry. It'll be fine. And then sure enough, he had to go into the kitchen. Hello, my name's Siobhan. I've made some cakes. Let's talk. You
yeah,
remember that awkward moment where you have to make friends and you don't know who
yeah.
you're going to be with? It's quite scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very scary, and I remember trying to pluck up the courage to go and introduce myself to people and knock on the
Mm.
door, but then just
Oh,
wuss out. There are a couple of times when I go and meet people, go and knock on the door, and then just wouldn't follow through.
oh, wow. That's really key, actually, because it's really intimidating, isn't it?
Yeah,
But people had the doors closed. I'd read you have to have your door open when you first move in, which was actually really tiring because all I
okay,
wanted to do was like lie down and cry. But you have to meet people. I remember the second night of Freshers Week, just clutching my little teddy, because you're children, aren't you, at 18? You're kids. And I remember being really sad, but I was happy because
yeah.
I was out getting pissed. But it's just massively intimidating, isn't it? I wonder how different it is now because there's not so much of a
Hmm.
drinking culture. People are more aware of mental health. In fact, they're aware of mental health. They weren't aware at all. It didn't even exist when we were at uni. People are more aware of neurodivergency. So maybe you would be able to say, hang on, I need a break. I don't know. I don't know how different the experience is. And maybe they're not drinking as much. So I don't even know what students do these days. Do they study?
No, surely not.
Surely not. Did you do any degrees after your undergraduate degree? Did you have any more university qualifications?
I wanted to, but I didn't actually get around to it.
You did a journalism course, didn't you?
No, I didn't do a journalism course. No,
Oh,
I
okay.
just applied for a job at a local paper that said you needed training and experience.
Yeah.
And I didn't have training or experience, but I got an interview and somehow got the job,
Okay. And then you got
despite
the
being,
experience.
yeah. But whether or not it was a positive experience, it wasn't a positive experience. It was brutal, but I
Okay.
learned a lot of skills. But that's a story for another time.
Yes. Interesting. Okay, so I thought you'd done a postgraduate thing. Okay.
And the,
Yeah, because I did postgraduate for my interpreting diploma and obviously like NVQs, different various levels of sign language. And it was like I finally realized what studying was because you had to do Harvard referencing and all this stuff.
oh,
I'd done
Harvard
it.
referencing. Fuck that.
I didn't do it in my undergrad. Didn't do any of it. I just was
We
like,
had to do Harvard.
bracket. I'd only
Harvard
learned it for,
AP.
yeah, all this Harvard referencing, all this stuff. I was like,
Fuckers.
what's this? And finally, for that course, I was studying, but it was at the same time as working full time. So it was like, fuck's sake, you're doing more work and you're actually working. So that was real study. And I was like, oh, the last course, I just got drunk with deaf people and made some theatre. It was great.
What was the
Yeah.
hardest thing about university for you?
Oh, I think that first week was really hard, but also great, but hard. Obviously, for me, I had level one sign language and I was mixing a lot with deaf people, which was amazing. It made it such a different experience, but it was intimidating trying to master the language. And actually, my friends in previous years have said, oh, you're signing bollocks sign language. And I was like, what? This is the deaf people I've been getting drunk with. I said, what? He said, yeah, we didn't want to correct you because we thought it was sweet. That was hard, but great and really worthwhile. I think one thing I realized early on at uni, I suddenly realized how adulting works because none of us are adults, but I very soon realized, oh, as a human, you fuck up a lot and you make mistakes. And I suddenly decided I was going to be transparent all the time about all my errors because I didn't want anyone to ever accuse me of bitching. So I was really like, oh, I fucked up there. And I was always taking accountability for stuff. And I've kept that in life. And I've realized how important it was to get by. I was going to have to say sorry a lot, basically, and own my shit. And I also realized I quite like my own space because there were other people who went off into pairs and made like firm arrangements and they were like always together. And I didn't want that. I knew I needed to be me. I was quite close to Roger, but we respected each other's space and we'd hang out, but we'd still have our own time as well. What about you, Alex? Great question. What about you?
Yeah, it's pretty homesick being away from
Mm.
dogs. That was the hardest
Oh,
thing. Yeah, being ill,
yeah.
getting fresh as flu,
Yeah.
being away from home,
Oh, that's
and
horrible.
yeah, being sick and away from home and in a new
Yeah.
environment. That's pretty bad. And then you do get ill just from going out and getting drunk a lot. So
Yeah. The
feeling
hangovers, the
the hangovers are
hangovers. Every
awful.
Friday morning we did Heritage of Theatre. Dr. Julia Borman was our lecturer, and karaoke night was on the Thursday night at Bulmersh
Mm.
campus. So every Friday morning, halfway through Heritage of Theatre, I would go into the toilets to be sick routinely, and my friend Gemma would hold back my hair.
A friend.
Yes, you need those friends. You probably had a lot of those as well.
I didn't need to hold back my hair. So
Suffered from that.
no, there was a moment when I got very drunk and passed out on my bed and woke up to find my ankles tied together and covered in shaving foam.
God, was that from the Shitastic Four?
That was the Shintastic Four.
Oh
Yeah,
my
they
God, what are
betrayed me.
boys like? I remember meeting
Yeah,
boys at uni and they would be in all lad houses and they would talk about these things like, oh, I woke up covered in flour. Meh.
yeah.
You guys are mad.
I got my revenge on the key perpetrator by investing in some permanent markers, and I drew on him when he was asleep, passed out, gave him a Hitler moustache, drew a dick on his head,
I was gonna
and
say, did you draw a dick on his head? Yes, of course
oh
you
yeah,
did. Oh, this is classic university behavior.
yep,
Probably not where my sister went at Cambridge. They were like draw PhDs or Latin numbers on each other's
yeah,
heads, probably.
yeah.
Like, oh, actually, that reminds me of something about my sister's uni. Because I had two university existences, because I'd have mine in Reading and then hers in Cambridge. They had a thing called the university shit list. Have I mentioned this before?
No,
There's all these different colleges in Cambridge, and you have to leave a floater in every college.
okay,
So even in sophisticated academic Cambridge, they've still got their university shit banter.
yep. And what was that next question you were going to ask about if you could do your time again?
If you could do your university time again, is there anything you'd change? Would you wish you had got into Bournemouth, or are you happy with how it all panned out? Would you change anything?
I would probably go to a better university, but
Why?
if
Why?
we the pause was not very good, and I had good grades to go to better universities, but I didn't know I was going to get as good grades as I did in the end.
Yeah.
If you could do the same course again, what would you do differently going back? And I would
Mm,
do, because I was pretty close to combining it film with creative arts,
mm,
because I wanted to do acting, but
mm.
I was just scared of everything, and I just ducked out. And I was reading the course notes, and there's something about dance, and I thought I'm not doing that. Just wanted to act, and I wish I'd been part of some societies. I wish I tried. I signed up for the radio, but then didn't like the
Yeah.
lead guy. I thought he was a dick, so I didn't go to the back. But I wish I'd done
Okay.
acting.
You
So
did you
I,
not do drama society at uni?
no, no, I did
Oh
not.
man, I did, and I was very glad. It was the only thing that got me off Bulmersh, the outskirt campus, onto the main campus, and it was my way in for meeting people. So for me, that was a bit of a lifeline.
Yeah, so I
Oh,
wish I'd done
Alex.
acting,
Yeah.
but I'd also started doing comedy when I was at university as well
Oh, okay. So maybe you wouldn't
in
have
the
had the
second year.
headspace for both.
I probably would have done, but
Okay.
yeah, I could have met more people that way as well.
Yeah, because you would have been going off to do comedy, so you're meeting people who aren't at the uni, like not students.
I
So
was going to
good.
London from Portsmouth to
Oh
do 5 minutes,
wow.
which was pretty stupid.
Wow. That's taking you away from uni. That's good though
Hmm.
to have a life outside uni. That's pretty cool.
It wasn't much of a life.
Yeah, I know, because I do comedy now. I know it's not much of a life.
But to travel from Portsmouth to London to do 5 minutes, and sometimes it wasn't even 5 minutes. Sometimes at the King Gong, it was 46 seconds.
Oh my Lord. Yes. Yeah, yeah, because that's our miserable existence now. You were doing it at uni.
Yeah. To do 10 minutes, you can justify that in a way.
Mm.
You can't, but to do 5 minutes, to travel all that way to do 5 minutes
Yeah.
is pretty stupid.
We've all done it, haven't we? It's part of the
Yep.
curse of being a stand-up. So that's what you'd do differently.
Mm.
Interesting.
What would you do differently?
Probably the only thing is you mentioned student radio. Now, with Ryan, our cycling shitter from episode 6, season 1, me, him, and a guy called Sandy who lives in Italy, great friend who I knew from Drama Society, they had a radio show, and I was on it once as a guest with both of them. And then the second time, Sandy didn't turn up, so it was just me and Ryan, who were both really silly. Sandy was like the kind of more sage one, and we were just both the same level of silly. We had one CD, Red Hot Chili Peppers Californication, which we just played on repeat. And we were there for hours and we played hide and seek on the radio, and it was really good fun. And I wish I had done student radio. That was my one regret, was
Well,
not doing student radio.
I did a hospital radio show in my teens when I
Oh,
was 16 or 17.
oh, incredible. I wish I'd done that.
Anyone listen, but I enjoy myself. Sometimes I'd be singing along to Disney songs and
Yeah.
really putting in the effort, and I realized I hadn't muted the microphone. A lot of old people were listening. I was told once my youngest listener was 60. And so the last thing that some people may have ever heard would have been me singing badly along to The Lion King.
Hospital radio. That sounds great, though. What a great experience. I really enjoyed the two times I did do student radio, and I think I could have maybe tried to find time for that. Also, I never directed a play, apart from my own ones that I did for the course. In the Drama Society, I never directed a play because I felt like I didn't have that authority, and it would have been a good thing to do. Maybe I could have done that. But hey, I have no desire to do anything like that now because I already hate having to tell my children what to do. I don't want to get anyone to do anything. I like just managing myself.
Yeah.
Change anything else, Alex. I'm pleased with where I went. Delighted, actually. I wouldn't change that. Obviously, I met my husband. We're very good friends.
Yeah. I met some of my best friends at university who I'm still in touch with this day. And
Go.
yeah, it was worth it
It's
from
worth it.
that respect. Yeah.
Worth it for that. And what
Mm.
would you say to anyone out there who's thinking about going to university? Don't
Don't
go to
shit yourself.
Portsmouth. Don't shit yourself. And if you do, tell us about it.
That brings us to the section of the show known as Shit or Miss, where we give a shitting story and one of us has to guess, was it a shit or was it a miss? Did they make a mess or did they have a escape?
Okay.
So this story is
Yeah.
entitled, it was submitted through our anonymous form. So
Brilliant.
thank you, our shitters who submit stories. We could not read these out without you. We literally couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Please, shitters, keep submitting. Tell your friends, anyone you know with a good shit story, get on them and get them to fill in that form.
Yes.
Or approach us directly, you know?
Yeah. If you see us walking around on the street, approach us directly with your shitting story. We'll have to kind of record it or make some notes.
Yeah.
Siobhan, in fact, goes around sourcing shitting stories from pubs. That's what you've started
I
doing, isn't it?
do. I do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very, very exciting. It's a good calling, I'd say.
Yeah. Excuse me, have you shut yourself? Have you got 5 minutes?
Exactly. I know. I think I'm going to become like a honey trap agent for shit stories.
Like a shit trap agent.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Yes. Right. What a title. All right. Go on. Then you've got a
Yes.
submitted
Yes.
shitter story for this
Give the
episode.
title, The Brazilian Dinner Fiasco.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's got a sort of a secondary title. Think you've had a bad night out. So
Oh,
it's a night out.
you know what's really great as well is although these stories are anonymous, I know exactly who this is.
Do
Because
you?
you always fill in the form anonymously. This is one of my friends. And then they message you being like, hey, I've given a story. Because
Did this person tell you it was called the Brazilian Dinner Fiasco?
no, but they are Brazilian, so I just know it's them.
Right. Okay. Right. Are you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Here we go. Starts with hello there, like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hello there. Years ago, I hosted my uncle and his mates visiting from Brazil, treating them to dinner at a rather posh restaurant.
Mm,
I wonder what the toilets were like, if there were any
yeah.
sci-fi eggs. Hasn't said. Turns out when English isn't your first language, what's meant as enthusiasm can come across quite differently. My
Oh,
uncle really wanted to practice his English enthusiastically,
mm.
ordering for everyone with phrases like, give me this, and he wants that, occasionally questioning, why so slow? He wasn't trying to be rude, but the waiter raised eyebrows
Yeah.
and that suggested otherwise. My
Oh,
dish was a tuna steak swimming in sauce, notably the only saucy dish on the table. It's got a little
oh.
saucy already.
It has got sauce.
Should have been a warning sign. I suppose it was especially selected by the staff as a revenge act. Oh,
Oh.
because obviously the uncles pissed them off, so
Mm.
staff are suggesting let's give them food poisoning. for punishment. Allegedly, allegedly. That's what's implied.
Yeah.
Later that evening, on the tube back to my flat near London Bridge, disaster struck. A bead of sweat rolled down my forehead as I
Mm.
heard a warning shot.
Oh God, I think that means a fart. I think he's being
Does in a fart.
metaphorical there, and he means a fart, Alex.
Yes. Yeah, it's
Clever.
poetic.
Mm.
And then or they should say, then just to anonymize it, go on to say that confirms this was well beyond the territory of a cheeky fart.
Oh, well beyond the territory of a cheeky fart. Love it.
There's
Okay.
more to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's potent. It's loaded. A loaded fart. I exited the station, mentally mapping the distance home, calculating minutes, seconds, and desperate steps before salvation. Really builds up the suspense.
I love it. I love his turn
Longest
of
walk
phrase.
of my life.
Oh, bless him.
Finally reaching my building, I discovered my flatmate. He's named the flatmate. All
Should we
right, it's
go with
just the
this?
first name.
Should we anonymize
Yeah.
it or just do the name?
Well, good. He's given the name, and it's just the first name. So if you are called Louisa and you live with somebody who's been to a Brazilian, got some Brazilian family, then could be you, Louisa. So finally reaching my building, I discovered my flatmate Louisa was having one of her marathon showers, blaring music at top volume. Marvelous timing. I don't think it was marvelous at all, was it?
No, well, it
Too
was for
desperate to
Louisa.
wait.
She's having a great time. I wonder
She
what her
is.
go-to shower songs are. I love a good marathon shower, so I think like Louisa's my spirit animal here.
Yeah, so I'd imagine, Siobhan, when you're in the shower, it's power ballads and Disney songs. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
All right. So they continue. Too
Yeah.
desperate to wait, I contemplated sacrificing the communal bushes downstairs, preparing my excuses about a suspiciously large fox. But then, salvation. The
Oh.
neon glow of the pub, the old schoolyard. Do you
Oh
remember that one?
my
I
God,
know
there
that one.
used to be comedy night in the old schoolyard.
It did, yeah. It was in like a workshop, wasn't it? Downstairs. I mean, it literally was a comedy workshop as well. You'd be testing out ideas, but there was some
Oh,
tools and things. Do you remember that?
oh, no, do you know, I never went there, but I would see the
Oh, okay.
adverts for it and I never actually did it. But I know a
Yeah,
lot of people would be talking about the schoolyard.
yeah.
Okay, so it's this part of London. That's
It's well, there's
exciting.
lots of retro gaming as well. So
Oh, great.
yeah, well, there was anyway about
Oh,
15 years ago. Right, so Salvation, the neon glow of the pub, the old schoolyard across the road beckoned like a heavenly sign.
oh.
Suddenly, all my long-standing phobias about public loos evaporated. My meticulous toilet paper barrier ritual abandoned. I practically kicked down the bathroom door and experienced what I can only
Oh, so
describe
hang on. Do we need to do
as
shit or miss?
I'm
Sorry.
going to ask you
Oh
now,
yeah, yeah,
Siobhan.
of course. Of
So
course,
he's
you're not
kicked
going to
down the
miss it.
bathroom door. He's found his salvation.
Okay.
He's, or they,
I
they're
mean,
here. Everyone
should
knows
we
that
give
they're
his
here now.
exact address?
Yeah, we will. Yeah. Right. So, Siobhan, what happened next? Shit or miss? So
Okay,
they found the toilet.
they found the toilet. I'm really intrigued. I love the way he's just putting, I abandoned my usual toilet paper ritual, as if we all know what that is. I wonder what the shittest toilet paper ritual is.
I know what it is. You line the toilet seat with toilet paper, so
Okay.
you're not touching someone else's arse and bollocks inadvertently.
Is that what you do?
Yeah, I do that. Yeah, if it's a public toilet.
Oh, okay. Goodness me, am
Yeah.
I
So
an
like,
animal?
yeah, you are. We knew that already. So,
Well,
so
Dave did, wouldn't he?
yeah.
Oh.
Right. So you put like a strip of toilet roll on the sides and the front.
Okay, so that must be this. I nearly said his name.
Hmm.
That must be his toilet paper ritual. Okay,
Kind of line the toilet seat with paper, so it's a bit more hygienic. But
yeah,
really, it's not because it breaks and you're still touching it with your arse. But
yes, of
I think
course.
it could sometimes help with the psychological barrier of using a horrible public toilet.
And having someone else's arse and bollocks on your arse, which I didn't realize you felt
Mm.
so strongly about, Alex. I thought you'd be open to a bit of arse and bollocks, but
I don't know who they are. I don't know whose arse and bollocks they are.
if it's someone you
They might be
trust, would you be
lovely.
happy? Would you happy to have their arse and bollocks
If
near?
it was someone I trusted,
Yeah.
you'd need to be more specific. No, in fact, I know so many people I do trust who I wouldn't want their asses or bollocks anywhere near me.
Well, there we go. It's good to know. Alex's male friends, if you're listening, it's good to know. There's a line there. He's got boundaries, and we've got to respect him for that. Okay, I think he made it, and it was a sweet, sweet, sweet relief.
Do you
That's
think that?
it.
Is that your?
Sorry, I probably should build it up. That's what I
Yeah.
think, but should I say something more
Well,
entertaining to
yeah.
make it
Talk
more
me
fun?
through your thinking. What makes you come to this conclusion, other than he's in the toilet and he's
Look,
made it?
he's had the good sense to find a pub, hasn't he? Like he's found the
It's
old
like Jason
schoolyard.
Bourne.
Is that from the Born Identity or
Yes.
something?
He's used his like survival skills. He's been meticulously planning it, calculating minutes,
Yes.
seconds,
Yes.
scanning all the local area in his head.
Yep.
Plan A doesn't go to plan, so he gets to a plan B.
Yep. And then I think, okay, do you know what? I did that thing there where you said Jason Bourne, and I did this thing that women do sometimes where I laughed, even though I actually didn't have a fucking clue what you were talking about, because I don't do action films at all. I'm like a real girl in that respect. So, and then you did like more of the Jason Bourne stuff, and it just doesn't compute because I just don't have a
Mhm.
brain that deals with action. so I,
Right.
so I do this thing where I'm like, ha ha ha, that's really funny, but I didn't understand.
It
Oh,
was very funny,
yeah,
but
it was, but I didn't get it because my
no,
brain.
you know James Bond. You aware of him?
I am aware of him. Yeah, I've seen some James Bond films. I can only understand when he gets with women. I understand relationships. I don't understand guns and jumping and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but you're aware of the character James Bond. Well,
I am.
Jason
Yes.
Bourne was kind of like a reimagining of James Bond, but he's
Yeah.
kind of always on the run. So the authorities are after
Okay.
him. The
Yes.
government, rather than working for the government as James Bond does, Jason Bourne is being chased by the government who he used to work for,
Yeah.
and he's got amnesia and he can't remember lots of things, but he knows secrets as well.
Okay. So
So
you think this shitter is like that, where he's carefully
yeah,
planned his route. He's not done his usual toilet
well,
paper
he's got
ritual.
survival skills.
He has, including a toilet paper ritual. And he can survive many things, but not a steak. What the fuck did the restaurant staff do to his steak?
I don't know.
That
Sounds like they
is wanked
poisoned
in
it
it?
with
Yeah.
some laxatives.
Oh my God. But the thing is, give that to the uncle. The uncle was the one being rude through no
Yeah.
fault of his own. It's a language barrier, isn't it? And culture barrier. You can't take it so personally. And actually, it's the uncle that was pissing them off, not the shitter. So
Hmm.
why is the shitter being punished for this?
Well, yeah.
Maybe they
People
knew he
don't
was
always get what they
native to.
deserve.
They don't. They don't. And he got a swimming tuna steak. I think he made it. He got there. He managed to get to the toilet just in time. I think we have a happy ending here. A miss.
Okay. So that is your answer.
That's
Wow.
my answer. It's not
Sure.
very entertaining. I think it would have been funnier if I said, "Hey, shit everywhere," and it was fun.
All right. Well, here we go. So here is the reveal.
Okay.
So I practically kicked down the bathroom door and experienced what I can only describe as catastrophic relief.
Oh.
However, I've added the however, he didn't add this. There is a sting in the tail.
Oh yes, and in the asshole. Okay.
The only casualty, my lucky green pants. Not so lucky anymore, I'm afraid. I thought this tale of gastronomic betrayal might make for an entertaining segment on your show.
Oh,
Cheers. So,
bless him. What a
thank you.
lovely guy. I wonder what
It
happened to
was
the
a shit.
pants. It was
Um,
shit.
sounds like they were a write-off.
So he shat his pants
Or,
then.
yeah, shite off.
Oh, shite off! Yes, Alex! Here we go. 14
This is the gold.
episodes in, and now we've come up with another new term, shite off. Pants were a shite off. Fun fact, I believe this shitter is married to the shitter from episode 8. I hope that's not
Wow.
revealing. Yeah, in
What
fact,
was
I.
their wedding like?
Oh my goodness, I know. Goodness me. Oh,
Was this how they met through
for shitting.
unfortunate shitting stories?
I don't know, yeah, because both shitting stories I think predate the union, so maybe they bonded over this first date.
Maybe this was a conversation on their first date. You ever
Maybe
shat yourself?
I hope so. And you know what? They're happily married, so good luck to them. And they're
So
lovely, lovely listeners of the show with Nadia
episode eight, that was
Camille.
Nadia. So that was
Yeah.
the tale with the lodger and
Yes.
the pants in
Yeah.
the bin bag.
Yeah, the
Okay,
pajamas. That one was
right.
pajamas were a write-off. So he's lost his lucky green pants. She's lost some pajamas. Do they own any clothes still, this couple?
And they found each other.
Exactly. Son's lucky green pants. Oh, that was brilliant. And Alex, you read that beautifully. And the shitter, thank you, you wrote that beautifully.
Yeah, it was poetic. I
Yeah,
enjoyed reading that.
really good. The shitters
There was
really
there was
make it
good
easy
rhythm.
for us. Yeah, it was good
Hmm.
build up. Yeah, great stuff. Well
Yeah.
done.
Yep. So that brings this episode to a close. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 2, and we hope you enjoyed it. So episode 2, series 2. I mean, it's always going to be a good one.
See you again for episode 3. And remember, don't
You're
shit
gonna do that
yourself.
bit.
I
Yeah.
thought you were going to do it. It's my line.
Right,
Oh,
I'll do it
okay.
again.
No, you say and
Right.
remember, and also don't shit yourself.
All right. And remember,
Don't shit yourself.
there we go. Seamless.